Good morning. I'm back from the grave, and we will have some new friends to introduce a little bit later on this morning, so don't change that channel. Kids, are you ready for tomorrow? You ready to get some candy? This is the Bones Cam. This is how it works. I wear this green suit. I have the bones attached to me, this skeleton. Anytime you wear green in front of the weather maps, you're invisible. So you put the skeleton in front of it, and that's how we created Jude Redfield a couple years ago. Pretty neat stuff. That zone where the snow is going haywire and bonkers extends from Louisville down to the parkways. It has been nonstop snow rates of at least 1 to 2 inches per hour for the last 8 to 10 hours for some of these locations down around Hardin County, Breckenridge County. I mean, this is just something that you might not ever see in your lifetime, this kind of snow event where we end up picking up 20 to 22 inches, maybe some isolated higher amounts. In Louisville Metro, we're now closing in on a solid 8 to 12 inches county-wide, and we're still not finished with that snowfall. What we were thinking was that snow would hit hard. We'd have these kind of snow rates, but it would start to move off to the east and southeast. But when you look at the evolution of this winter storm, it hit, and it did not stop. The moisture pump, boom, baby, boom. I mean, it is crazy. As we hit the afternoon, everything will slide into eastern Kentucky and will wind down this massive snowstorm. But this is something that you would call a historic storm, an epic storm. 18 inches and still climbing in Radcliffe, parts of Hardin County from Fort Knox down towards E-Town, Lebanon Junction into Bullitt County, that 65 corridor, 20 miles in there. There's going to easily be spots approaching 20 plus. Mount Washington piled high, stacked high. Look at this shot of the patio furniture. I mean, it just kind of puts you in awe when you see that. And we're not done. We can easily get another 3 to 5 inches. So here we go. The previous record on this date was 0 way back in 1936. So what did we do? We trashed that, and it could actually be even colder as we keep tracking these temperatures that are dropping down through the teens and 20s below 0. Keep the fire going here. You know, it's going to be a day where the wind chill will stay in this 10 to 20 below 0 range, so we're not looking at much improvement. That is the fuel. That's the fuel that you just keep pouring and pouring onto this little smoldering flame. That potential could be reached, and if we do reach that severe weather potential as that low pressure scoots on by quickly, we're going to have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings and most likely a few tornado warnings in the mix. According to the Storm Prediction Center here, these are the zones under the risk for severe weather. They have a slight risk. Here's my bullseye. I think there's a good chance this will be upgraded to a moderate risk if everything continues with the trends that we're seeing. That bullseye zone gets very close to Louisville. There is strong indication on the radar that there could be a tornado, again, south of Mount Washington moving to the east. As we look south of Jefferson County, we're in the clear of the potential of anything spinning up, but right down in through here, it's moved through Muldrow, and I'm telling you, on the radar was showing ferocious winds that could easily have gusted well over 60 and 70 miles per hour. And right now, in this particular zone there is where we have the possibility of some of that tornadic spinning. We're talking almost hurricane force winds, at least being noted on the radar. Rick, let's do something so we can help people understand what we're talking about. You see these bright pinks and reds showing up. Sometimes we'll see green. This is the velocity image where we look inside the thunderstorm trying to find what the winds are doing. Let's take us back in time, if we can give us a bit of a wider perspective here and roll everything back over the last 45 to 60 minutes, how this situation has evolved and why we did get tornado warnings. Before the first tornado warning came out near Fort Knox and Muldrow, see that bright dot of green coming towards the radar site right there. Now watch what happens. You get that wind coming in, and then the best noted radar rotation was right there, and then the tornado warning eventually came out for most of Bullitt County, south of Mount Washington, and the worst of that rotation on the radar was south of Shepherdsville, and then it turned into more of a unidirectional, kind of exploding out into this bow echo where the winds just gust out like crazy. On the northern fringe of this, up in Shelby County, you can see the straight line winds. Sometimes they wrap in, and you can get these little weak spin-ups, and that's exactly what has occurred on the northern fringe of this almost mini low pressure. That's why we have a tornado warning We have a lot of inflow from that warmth feeding into the thunderstorm, and then that green rushes out. Those are some of the winds blowing out from the thunderstorms, some of the stronger winds on that leading edge, on that gradient from Willisburg over towards Bardstown. This will head down to the south. Springfield going to get slammed a little bit. Saloma. These are the latest storm tracks as we move it into Harrodsburg and Lebanon, 5 to 11 minutes. Saloma in around 20 minutes. Summersville, 27 minutes. Campbellsville in about a half an hour. Campbellsville's way down there. I mean, these things are hauling. I mean, there's nothing slow about the kind of movement that we're looking at here. This will blow your mind. This is just really in our viewing area. I have the zone boxed in as we count the lightning strikes. There's so many lightning strikes on here, we can't even see where it's raining. Almost 14,000 lightning strikes just in the last 30 to 60 minutes with this one batch of thunderstorms. Over the last 6 to 12 hours, we've picked up over 100,000 lightning strikes in this area. So the electrical outages will continue to mount as we take you through the morning, and they will continue to mount down to the south. Now watch what happens. We're saying some of these locations that haven't been cooled by any rain as of yet still have plenty of fuel, and that's why these thunderstorms, which I'm calling heat-seeking missiles, looking for the heat, are actually building towards E-Town, building back towards Grayson County. So we're going to get into some of that heavier rain, and this line will eventually move down through Hart County, and it's heading through LaRue County right now, but we're going to get a lot of lightning. We don't expect a bunch of severe weather reports necessarily out of the E-Town vicinity. I think the better chance for some of those winds right now are in the core of that severe thunderstorm cluster, but it is just amazing and mind-boggling to see that. I want to point out some of the heavier rain amounts. These are 24-hour rain estimates from the radar going back to yesterday afternoon when we had round one, and it's obvious what has occurred. And you look for those bright colors. Look at the pink and the black. We've been talking to some folks up in Madison with the flash flooding, anywhere from Madison over towards Newcastle all the way down towards Buckner in Oldham County. 3 to 6 inches of rain. Sometimes they overestimate because we had some hail contamination, but a solid 3 to 6 inches of rain with an additional inch of rain or two that we've just picked up. Now we're looking at the last 24 hours as we had this storm complex that started round one up in northern Indiana, went through eastern Kentucky, through the Appalachian Mountains, and storm reports all the way down to South Carolina. Yesterday morning, we were talking about the possibility of a derecho, and that's exactly what this was. I mean, this thing extended for 500 to 700 miles. It never weakened. It was the exact same thunderstorm complex from northern Indiana all the way down to the Carolinas. Round two moving through right now. Round three would occur later on this afternoon after we get some daytime heating. And a lot of today will look pretty nice. You know, by midday, the sky should turn partly cloudy, but it's some of that heating and sunshine that will bring in a few isolated severe thunderstorms later on today. Check out all the storm reports in the last 24 hours. I-65 to I-75, that was that complex that blew in from northern Indiana. Just hundreds and hundreds of storm reports, a lot of trees knocked down. Yesterday in Shelby County, trees down countywide. We had that funnel cloud report up around North Vernon. So those are some of the latest reports that we're seeing. Once again, severe thunderstorm warnings extending now south of Interstate 64 as we watch these storms move south. Louisville Metro starting to clear out. And we just got this picture coming in along Shelbyville Road. And this is terrible. You go back to what happened Sunday morning. Cars completely flooded out once again in standing water. It's 7:03, again talking about the fact that the sun's coming up. We're going to get new reports of tree limbs down in areas where there's standing water, so don't change the channel. We'll keep you posted. And then you get into your vehicle and you try to get around some of these barricades. It is bad news. Candace and Sterling just brought up a great point with the fact that it's dark out and you cannot get a true judge whether or not that water is an inch or 12 inches high. Now we head down towards Litchfield. There is a little bit of weak rotation in this particular thunderstorm. So we're going to watch this as it moves through central parts of Grayson County, racing off to the east at around 45 to 50 miles per hour. We're going to look at something different here. This doesn't scream a tornadic situation, but it has my attention. You can see this little area where there's the green and red notch coming together, some weak rotation potentially moving towards Litchfield. All the buggy conditions. Skeeter meter, the highest it's been so far this year. We're going 5 out of 5 on this. We've had so much rain. We have the high heat and humidity building in prime conditions for a lot of gnats and mosquitoes. Just have the off ready to go. Let's do some swimming. You know Hurricane Bay is going to be jam-packed today. Temperatures touching the mid-90s between 3 and 5 o'clock. Plan on that ultraviolet index of 10. That's about as high as it gets for Kentuckiana. It's a scale of 1 to 15, and when we're around a 10, boom, we get it fast. That sunburn comes on. For everyone working outside, we talk about those dew points. This is the muggy meter. This is the first time we've thrown the flames on here with this heat wave moving in. Dew points up and over 70. The best way to term it, miserable conditions. We've been live in Bardstown all morning long with great weather. It took a long time, but we finally put the forecast together to where we could get out of the weather office, soaked in sunshine down at the Court Square downtown, and it looks terrific. Well, look who I ran into. I mean, just some people walking around, obviously. I mean, this is what you wear, right? Huh? Stephen Foster story. Most people have heard about it, composer of My Old Kentucky Home. There's so many things that people know about Bardstown, and I brought something up with Gary, who's an actor in the Stephen Foster story about the bourbon capital here, and you have a little score to settle, right?
That's right. I have heard lately that some other little city north of us has claimed to be the bourbon capital of the world. I didn't say that.
When we said we would be live backside, literally backside. Bum, 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 bum. Good morning, sun is up. Nice weather today. You know what? It's really not going to be a day to complain about other than the chill that we have right now. We have some 30s and 40s, but when you look up and you don't see a cloud, and that sun will be beaming from start to finish, and not complaining about the sunrise that we've seen back-to-back days now, just a complete jewel. When you look at the sun coming up, it is truly an, oh my, beautiful, gorgeous weather out here.